we're going to talk about the GAA season. Before we do, there's a matter very close to your heart. There's a fundraiser happening in Kerry for two clubs, which is really one club or one town, one parish.
Yeah, my home club is Lixnaw hurling and Fanouig football. Big parish. There's actually two other clubs as well on the other side of the parish, but do you know what? We're like the guys at home. I haven't played at home in 2 years, but the guys are in the county hurling final replay on Sunday, this Sunday, and they're currently training in Tralee. You know, the local hurling pitch is closed. It was reseeded, but it also doesn't have floodlights this time of year. You know, the guys can't train. So yeah, I just wanted to do something for both the football and the hurling side of the club. So we're having a show in Tralee on Friday the 20th of October in the Brandon Hotel. Duns are supporting me on it, and I'm showing my latest collection, and I think Padraig Harrington is showing his collection, and Savida and Lennon Courtney, some of the Duns brands and some local designers are involved as well. So a lot of work in it, but I mean, you know, we're hoping to get a lot of local support, community support, and wider Kerry support as well, because it's something I would like to do for other clubs as well, because I want to try and raise the level of the economic level, we'll say, in Kerry across the clubs, because I think if we can do that, you can raise the economy in terms of Kerry GAA, and there is a new economy in the GAA. I think you know everyone will accept that, I think. So this is just something I wanted to do to give something back at home and to try and raise the standards, the level of facilities, the resources, so that you can raise the level of preparation for club players, so that you might, by kind of proxy, raise the level of Kerry GAA, you know. Yeah,
for sure. We'll tweet out a link to where you can get tickets as well. 20 quid on the night, and obviously clearly for a very good cause.
20 quid on the night. Tickets are available online at iregister.ie, and the money's going to the clubs. Half of it is going to Lixnaw and half to Fanouig, and we'll hopefully the half that goes to Lixnaw will be the beginning of a fundraiser to eventually
get the
floodlights up. Yeah.
When you were playing inter-county, did you have time in your head to think about this kind of stuff and the difficulties that the clubs were going through?
Thought about it, but not for long. You know, didn't dwell on it.
Yeah,
didn't dwell on it. But it was always
fair enough at the time, right? It's kind of like, because it's a wider conversation too about fixtures and championship structures and all that kind of stuff. And it's only really when you get a chance to stick your head up and look around and go, hang on a second, the hurlers don't have floodlights here. What's the crack?
Yeah, I certainly have a different kind of appreciation for it since I retired, you know. And look, listen, any inter-county fellow will tell you the same. I think it's a bit of a selfish existence. It has to be. I think you have to be cold about it, and you have to be kind of, you know, it has to be tunnel vision. And of course, I always felt, look, you do the stuff on the field, you try and win trophies for your club, and that's given back. That was that was the currency for me, you know. Now the currency is different. I'm older, I'm away from home, from Lixnaw Fanouig, and I want to try and raise the standards of the resources and the facilities, so that the young fellas might have better prep.
Because sometimes we think as well, like, we're amazed when mid-season a player's made available for whatever reason, generally because they won Player of the Month or there's a launch, and we're like, geez, these championship structures are terrible, you haven't played in 8 or 9 weeks, and they're like, don't really care that much because my job is to win the next game and not really get involved in this and not give any hostages to fortune.
Yeah, look, you'll probably get the same spiel there from players. You know, they'll say, look, you know, I suppose it's not ideal and it would be great if, but you know, don't get bogged down in it. I found it a drag as a player at inter-county level. I found the 9, 10, 12 weeks. There was some years it was 12 weeks.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, it was just my physiology, my body. I would start maybe to come down a little bit physically if I was training for that kind of a block. It was never ideal for me, but every guy is kind of different. But I did find that gap between league and championship, I found that tricky.
And even the gap sometimes in Munster between your first round Munster match, if you're straight through to the semi and the final, it could be 7 or 8 weeks sometimes.
Absolutely, look, and I think it makes managers' jobs harder, it makes strength and conditioning coaches' jobs harder, because this is a very fine detail. Everything is measured, and you know, you got to try and keep guys on a certain track, and it's easy to get that wrong. A lot of teams get it wrong, and it's tricky. It takes real scientific know-how and education to keep a team. Dublin, for example, this year, I think Dublin really measured what they were about, and were keeping a very close eye on their load and management and all that, kind of their output. And
because at the start of the season, obviously, word broke that they were having their holiday after Christmas, which was a big change for them, and certain players were being given time to go travelling, even if it was just 3 or 4 weeks as opposed to a couple of months. And it really looked like they managed that much better than a team that you would expect who is going for 3 in a row would automatically know to do, don't change what we've done every year. We're going to be a bit superstitious about this kind of stuff, but they weren't.
No, listen, it was real. Probably, listen, there was a bit of risk attached, but I think the game is at such a level now that it was a really calculated risk in terms of they knew the numbers. They were monitoring the numbers, they were monitoring load, they were managing load. So I think while it would have looked risky maybe from somebody from the outside who wouldn't be as maybe educated in terms of the data analysis, I think they knew what they were doing. I think the numbers, they were being guided by numbers. And it was funny, the All-Ireland final, I looked at it maybe 3 times since on TV, and it was a numbers game. The Dublin do the numbers very well. I thought Mayo lost their shape a little bit, whereas Dublin had more control by attacking with 7 or 8 players, defending with 7 or 8 players, whereas Mayo were maybe attacking with 12 players, defending with 3 players. So I think Dublin was certainly, they took a risk, but it was a calculated one, I think.
We'll come back to the Dublin side of it in a while, because you wrote a great column in the Sunday Times about that, and about that numbers game, and specifically about how Mayo were really the architects of their own downfall. That fans looking at the game say the free taker feels the weight of the ball in his hands with the chance potentially to win the game and misses it, they blame him. But you were making the case that Cillian O'Connor was tracking back. One of his jobs was to track back and run and run and run. Dean Rock didn't have the same responsibility.
Yeah, it didn't. It certainly looked that way to me. Like Cillian O'Connor found himself on his own end line a few times in that game. I don't think there was any danger that Dean Rock was ever going to find himself tracking a runner on his own end line in his own small square, in his defensive small square. That happened to Cillian O'Connor a lot. He did a lot of tracking, and it looked to me like Dean Rock had a certain responsibility to defend and track, but maybe to the 45, certainly not beyond that. And he worked quite hard within a certain kind of an order. But yeah, I thought O'Connor putting in the kind of running that is going to take it out of your legs towards the end of the game,
Yeah, so one is a function of the other. It's not that he choked or that he, because it's a free that he can kick.
He's not a choker.
Exactly.
He's done it on too many times, on too many occasions. I think he has got that mentality.
And so the analysis is wrong. That is it comes down to him. It's actually he's knackered, and we should be giving him the opportunity to score by not asking him to do the job with the defenders.
Yeah, it was funny. I thought the narrative after the game, everyone was disappointed with him for Mayo. And he was poor and he should have been taken off and he was this and he was that. But he kicked 3 big points. And he kicked 1 big point not long before he missed the free. He kicked a big point late on in the game, or from the middle of the field, or from the 45 around a central position. And you kick 3 points from playing an All-Ireland final, that takes doing,
Yeah, for sure. And there was this other sense that Mayo didn't have the game plan as evolved as Dublin's. Now, maybe nobody has the game plan as evolved as Dublin's was. That semi-final against Tyrone, in some ways, was football in perfection, because it was over from the get-go. They didn't stop. They were relentless, really, the whole way through. And I'd never really seen a team be as programmed as they were in terms of taking up positions on the field. There was a bit more chaos in the All-Ireland final, but they were still very programmed.
Yeah, I thought the Tyrone thing was a really masterful in terms of what they did. Like the sweeper system has been sweepers, and people were talking about sweepers and sweepers, and the kind of narrative was that the sweeper situation is a problem in the game, and the managers implementing the sweeper system is a problem in the game. Whereas I think we facilitated the sweeper by playing conventionally a full forward, allowing a sweeper to sweep the full forward.
Yeah.
It looked to me like Dublin took the full forward line out of there and said leave him on his own, which really gave them Tyrone different problems. By it looked like they overloaded the half forward line and really ignored the full forward line when they were kind of in transition, and Colm Cavanagh was standing around on his own, and that really looked to me like it dismantled Tyrone's whole game plan. I thought that was brilliant, to be honest.
Can everybody copy that, and if ever they come up against sweepers again, or do you need footballers of the talent and the conditioning and the self-confidence?
I was surprised it took so long for people to cop that the issue wasn't the sweeper, but actually the position of how you play your full forward or your full forward line.
Yeah.
Get them out of there, and then what does the sweeper do? And so, I think teams will start to do that. I think that's probably the end of the sweeper for a while, sweeper system for a while, and it's up to you know what I mean. It's up to new thinkers now to try and find another avenue of approach, I think.
Yeah, the basketball element of this is something that was remarked on a lot, and I guess it was because the way, particularly, like you would have seen at various stages in the Tyrone game, the Dublin midfielders would be down either in the left corner together, and they'd be like literally at the corner flag at one side, and then you'd look up 20 minutes later and they could both be on the right hand side. It was like